this week, but something that you both particularly were interested in, I think, is this story about the unprecedented number of phone calls to Lifeline.
Yeah.
And also the pointing out that it may have something to do with social media, in that we're spending so much time looking at our peers in photographs, usually lovely photographs, on Facebook, for instance, and then having our feelings of isolation and ineptitude to sort of...
Margie, you've written specifically about this, haven't you?
Yeah, I have written about this because there's been some research now for a few years that shows that, you know, the rise of social media, we spend more and more time online, and we're more connected online than ever, but more disconnected from the communities that we live in, from just the people right around us. And what's most interesting is, you know, there's numerous studies, one by the American Psychological Society, that found that the highest reportings of loneliness were in people 18 to 35. Those who you wouldn't expect it from, you might think of it as more elderly people. So those who are spending the most time online have the highest reporting of feeling depressed. People who are spend more time on Facebook are more likely to feel depressed. And that's regardless of whether they're making positive comparisons to others or negative, whether they think they're doing better than others or worse. They still feel less happy than those who are just not as online as much and are just getting out and living their lives. So I think there's a real challenge for all of us in our lives. You know, Facebook, etc., it's our highlight reel. We don't put up all the rotten stuff. We only want to put up the good stuff. But we do have this tendency to look and go, oh, they're at a party, she looks fantastic, they've just done a triathlon.
And their children are geniuses.
Really careful. I mean, I would just say to anyone who's struggling with feeling down, you know, get off that and connect into the people around you, because
the real world.
There's so much, we know from positive psychology that one of the key reasons for well-being is when we are connected to the people around us, our strong personal relationships, and you can't really be doing that if you're just sitting there all the time watching how many people are reposting and tweeting what you've put out there.
Susan, what do you reckon?
Well, it's interesting because our photos have always been our highlight reel. Like, if you look back at Mum and Dad's photo album from many years ago, they didn't take photos of here's the messy kitchen, here's me having a crap day. It was here's the wedding, here's your graduation. So that's human nature, I think, that our photos are always the highlight reel. The problem is now that everyone's is up online for us all to see, so we're always seeing the great moment, so we compare the great moment or the highlight reel of other people with our own crappy lives. Even people's photos, they're all filtered as well. It's not even, here's a great situation, here's my great situation with the filter and everything's clarified and I've cropped out that ugly person that ruined the shot. And we have to force ourselves, I think, to have some perspective and realise that this is someone's curated life. And we do it ourselves. We're all guilty as well. And in the same way that you wouldn't look at a museum exhibition and think, well, that's a house, neither is the curated highlight reel the reality either.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Good to see
Susan.
you both.
Yes.
Here's to a great year
Happy
ahead.
New Year. Here's to a good 2016.
Yes, and everybody.
Get on Facebook.
Let's all take a selfie now.
And keep tuning into the Friday Confab. And we'll see you again.